Hi guys, it's Foye, but you can call me Foye.
Hey, this is Lola, but you can call me Lola if you like.
Hi, this is Velisa, and you can call me Vels if you want. And this is Everybody Hates HR Pod, episode 12, special episode.
It's a very, very, very special episode because today, give me the drum roll. Come on, give me the drum roll. Come on, Velisa. We have a very, very, very special guest, our very first guest.
Yeah.
Very, very special. Today we have Taylor. And I'm going to introduce Taylor, and then I'm going to get Taylor to introduce herself because I'm probably going to do a really poor job. But Taylor is someone I followed for like a couple of years now on all the socials. She is an SRE manager, so she works in tech, developing, specializing in artificial intelligence
And cloud.
You've put out loads of stuff like which I think has been really helpful for people like wanting to work in tech, like sharing your experience, sharing your journey, and it's been really helpful. So I'm super happy to have you. We're super happy to have you. Do you want to tell us, for somebody who's not like completely tech illiterate, like what you actually do?
So basically, describe in layman terms what I do.
Yeah, lay.
Gosh, how
Describe it as you want to describe it.
Because I'm just thinking, how do I get more layman than the cloud? I'm pretty sure everyone knows.
Yeah, I know the cloud.
So I'm a cloud engineering manager, basically. So help architect systems to help migrate onto the cloud, creating digestible workshops or demos for clients that are wishing to use our services. And I also manage a team of about 5 engineers.
So can I ask a question? Again,
Yes.
it might be a bit dumb, but like, is everything not in the cloud now?
Do you know what? You would be surprised. I think when it comes to like basic stuff, most things are in the cloud. So like application to your emails, Outlook. But there also are some other clients or companies that are still on what we call legacy systems. Well, they're still operating on very old kind of, you have to sign in, VPN, disk and tapes kind of situation. So not everything is on the cloud, but the majority of stuff, as in our personal devices and signing on to your work emails, is on the cloud, yeah.
Yeah. And how long have you been kind of working, I guess, in tech, and then I guess specifically within cloud?
So I've been working in tech since I've been about 18. So my first job the summer before I went to uni, I was basically a service desk analyst for a company that mimics Sky TV. So I was helping people install their satellite dishes, but I was doing the customer service. So I'm 29, so I'll say about 11 years. But then I went to uni, so I was doing that. So I would say full time for about 7 to 8 years. Been in tech for 11 years, and I always make a joke that I just fell into cloud engineering because being a cloud engineer or cloud manager, the aspects of kind of like, it sits within a methodology called DevOps, and DevOps is a methodology. So I don't know if you guys have heard of like, so you do HR, there's your CIPD exam. It's like being called a CIPD specialist. How long have you been called a CIPD specialist? Okay, you've been in HR. So one day woke up, my manager was just like, okay, cool, like, hey, DevOps engineers. I was like, something to add me more money on the LinkedIn. So why not?
So before we get into it, we've got a little game.
Okay.
You. It's a little icebreaker. Just an icebreaker, a this or that game. But you can't think about it. You just have to like...
From the top of your head.
Quick fire.
I didn't put the drink down.
There's no judgment.
No judgment. You ready?
We will discuss it after though.
Be self-employed or employed.
Employed.
Work from home or the office.
Office.
Public or private sector.
Public.
Wow. Manager or individual contributor.
Manager.
Side hustle or no side hustle.
No side hustle.
Make lunch or buy lunch.
Buy lunch.
Early start and early finish or late start and late finish.
Early start, early finish.
Good benefits or more money.
More money.
Work socials or stay at home.
Work socials.
LinkedIn or Instagram.
LinkedIn.
Coffee or tea.
Now coffee because of the baby.
MacBook or Windows.
MacBook.
Trainers or shoes.
Shoes.
Okay.
All right. Do you know what? It's funny because I saw you keying on LinkedIn today. You know, like when you, when you like comment on someone's thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I remember someone made some joke or something. I was like, oh, Jess. I was like, you're loving it.
I love, you know what, my cousin, he does recruitment, so he's just like, I have to be on this like website.
Yeah.
We're just like, you proper, you're in it. I'm just like,
reason.
hey, guys, I love LinkedIn.
too. Some people don't like. I don't know. How do you guys like? I feel like it's a bit of a love hate. I feel like you come on when you have to come on.
Yeah, I don't really like LinkedIn, but not because I think there's anything wrong with it. I just feel like it's turned into a bit of a Facebook. Like people are just saying too much of their own personal sort. Like this is, I didn't come here for this. Like,
I don't mind it, you know.
no,
Sometimes
I don't follow you on
motivational-
here because of your person. I followed you because there was something about your professional life
Yeah.
that interested me, not your cat
Do you know what it is?
being.
Sometimes there's some really tenuous links as well. People just want to share something about their personal life and they'll link it somehow to work.
Yeah,
And I'll be like,
yeah,
mate,
yeah. And then
It's
they get loads of
performative.
likes, though.
that's tenuous. I mean, during Black History Month as well, you get all of the interracial relationships. The guys will be like, "This is my wife. She's black," and I'm like,
Oh gosh. Do you know what? I think my relationship with social media will get on in a bit. But when it comes to LinkedIn, I actually first got it when it came out because I was working for a recruitment company. They were just like, there's this new tool / app called LinkedIn.
what year was that?
When did it come
I
out?
was
2008.
I would yes, I've had it since when I came out of college. So maybe when I was about 18, maybe I don't know if that's when it came out, but I've had it from like since the beginning.
You're a vet.
Yeah. So I've got like 10,000 connections or something wild. like
Oh
that.
wow,
Yeah.
it's a
But
lot.
have you seen like a drastic change since?
The aesthetic is a bit more nicer. I'm trying not to get too technical, but basically LinkedIn used to be just a sales tool, connects you to people that mostly do sales. So if you work in a sales orientated job or consultancy, LinkedIn is the best tool because what it used to allow you to do is to download your contacts into an Excel or CSV file. So back in the day, you'll just download people or import them, and then you're just like calling them like, hi, hi. But now,
can't do that now.
now it's more so, well, you still can, but there's no point or need to import people's data into CSV unless you're doing like data analytics stuff, because you can message people on LinkedIn. So it's gone from being a sales tool.
Did they have contact details in there before?
Yeah. It's gone from being a sales tool to a social media tool, because before you couldn't message people, or for some reason people didn't think that you could message people.
Yeah.
So the people like myself, that's why I'm so like active posting, because if you're not messaging somebody or you're not cold calling them, you're like actively like, hey, he's got a job, I've just finished my contract. So it used to be very Wolf of Wall Street, like an online yellow pages.
Because now they have like LinkedIn Sales Navigator, they've got LinkedIn Recruiter, like
Yeah.
things make money. And
Definitely.
a LinkedIn
Emails.
Recruiter license is literally so expensive. It's like thousands and thousands and thousands of pounds in recruitment businesses, because it's like the place to be.
Yeah.
Like not everyone's on LinkedIn, but when I ask someone if they have LinkedIn, they say no. Like it's actually a shock
Yeah,
to me.
same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially when like you have like a job. Like I don't know. Like,
Even if you don't, like I saw Krept from Krept and Conan. Obviously, he's launching the Nala baby care stuff on the 20th, and he was like, everyone should be on LinkedIn. Like I'm on LinkedIn because, and it helped. He made a connection that contributed to the Nala baby thing. So it's just a good way to network.
I wanted to go back to the questions because
Same.
you chose public over private.
I mean, it's an ongoing thing with us.
Yeah, we are definitely side private.
What would
No-
you
no
classify
shade
as
to
public?
anyone.
Like NHS
Yeah.
and private banking?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
Yeah,
an
okay.
example. Yeah, good example.
I chose public because I noticed that when working in the public sector, such as like NHS or like I think charities, classes, people are nicer.
It's true.
Money isn't
Okay.
good, but people are nicer.
Okay.
Also, I guess from a technical point of view, I've built most of my technical experience with the public sector because they have a bit more older or legacy systems. So in regards to when I want to go now private, like working for banking or for startup, if you know how to like migrate from what we call as a greenfield or brownfield site, then you could pretty much do anything.
So it's good learning. It's a good learning.
Yeah, good
environment.
learning. And I think that the benefits are maybe a bit more better
Yeah.
for somebody, you know, he's a mom or person of colour. So I've always maybe had like a special affinity.
Do you know what? I do feel like the public sector is a little bit slower, and that does lend itself to people being a little bit more people oriented and a bit nicer, rather than just being like fast, money. Like, you know, we hate you, but come and work for us.
Yeah.
No, that's very valid. Home or office? You said
It's an office.
Yeah. I don't want to sound like a archaic, you know, technical white man nerd. However, you know, we have to remember that when working from home was influenced, it was to accommodate the pandemic. If there wasn't any pandemic, most people wouldn't work from home, but maybe for people that work in like technical structures where you can work remote, there was a few that, like myself, that before the pandemic, we were branching into the aspects of being like technical nomads. But I would say, one, maybe now being a mother, working from the office gives me a sense of discipline. It helps me separate my home environment from my work environment, which I find a bit less stressful. And also I think going into the office is a very good way to build your career, because you just don't build your career by doing the work. You build your career by being visible, by being seen. It's all about networking.
That's true.
And I feel like
straight facts.
Yeah.
and I feel like as a person of colour, especially because we do suffer with the stereotype of we have to be seen to be working, I always wonder, you know, for people that are going into the work from graduate school, from uni, and you're going into big boy places like law, finance, accounting, you don't want to be seen by the senior managers of what?
Yeah.
You want to work from home, and then it's just like, back in the day, and I feel so old for saying this, working from home was only a luxury you afforded when you earned your stripes.
It's true.
Because
That's true.
we're paying you to work, but we're also paying to trust you that we don't have to micromanage you.
You know what? Yeah. What I would say is like the shift in how people feel about their employers. I always say that people have this crazy like one-sided relationship with their employers, where everyone, including me, everyone wants as much as we can get, but we want to give as little as we can give.
Yeah.
This is not a good relationship. Like if that was an actual relationship, it would be abusive. It would be like leave them. It's true. It would be toxic. So but that's what everybody wants. But there's like this shift now where everybody expects to be trusted by their employer from day one, and they're not really expecting to have to build that. Whereas before, you knew that you have to build this trust with your employer for them to know that, okay, I can give you the freedom because you've done the work. But now we're like, why do I need to prove it? You should trust me. You've hired me.
Because I think it's also going back to, as for a lot of minorities, people of colour, it's kind of a double-edged sword, right? Because yes, on one hand, going into the office has allowed me to be visible, has allowed me to network. But on the other hand, it's also that mental pressure of having to constantly assimilate. And I think I always make a joke that from kids born 95 and under, I wouldn't want to say they're hypersensitive, but they've had the grace to maybe be born into a structure that allows them to be a bit more aware about their mental health. And I think the working game or corporate game is basically dog eat dog. Some will make it, some won't. So I think a lot more people or minority groups are being able to pass through the funnel of corporate success because we don't have to see them, or you don't have to play the corporate game. You just have to do the work. I've kind of used it for me where, obviously because I'm a mum, I do work from home mostly, but then I schedule my going into the office around, hey, what day is the partners or senior managers going to go in? So then I'll go in where they're going. So it's a double-edged sword of...
And it also feels like for them, it feels like you're around.
And that's it. So I
true.
always feel like, you know, there is a sense of entitlement as well. And because we're kind of living in a hippie, you know, as long as I'm doing the work, it doesn't matter. One, a lot of people, young people, are quite entitled. And I've always said that building your career, especially in the early stages, you're never going to know how to do the job, but you have to know how to network. You have to know how to be visible.
Agreed.
Even if you're not on the office, little things, have your camera on. You've just come out of uni, you're 21, you've got a nice little graduate finance contract. In the mornings, you're not putting your cameras on. You're tweeting, making jokes that you're in the bed.
We spoke about this.
Have shame. You know what I mean? It's not giving.
I've got my headscarf on, and these people want me to. Why do people want me to put my camera on? Don't they know that I've got my prison braids? Like, put your wig on and get your camera on. Get your camera on, mate.
Even at me and my level, when I have a meeting with like a senior manager in the morning, I just fling the wing on. The only way I've gotten away with this because one, I'm senior leadership, and the only time I don't put my camera on is in the mornings when I take my daughter to nursery and she's running around out of the bath and stuff. They understand that. But other than that, client meetings, team meetings, I have my cameras on because if I can't be present in the office, you have to know that human connection is also about trust. So when people come to me wanting to mentor, and maybe I'm a bit of a grammar now, and I don't judge people by their social media. I'm definitely not one to talk. But when it's like, I have to put my cameras on, I'm on my headscarf, or I just started this job, and then it's like, it's very just relaxed. And I'm just like, you haven't even built your work. You've got, you know, like, where is this energy coming from that?
No, I completely agree. Like, and the thing is, everybody wants to get more for less, including myself. But like, sometimes, like, again, we need to talk about, and it's not, I was going to say Gen Z, it's not necessarily Gen Z, like, it's people, like, there's people our age that do that kind of thing. And definitely. I feel like that kind of stuff can contribute to how successful you are. Depends on your business as well, and depends how long you've been there. I remember when I was like starting out, when I was at Deloitte, I wanted to get my nose pierced. And it's not even a big thing, like, but obviously because I'm black and I have my nose pierced, by the time you know it, I don't know, like, what the perception of me would have been. But I remember I got to a point where, like, my work is actually sick, like, and people, they need me here. I was going to go pierce my nose, and I pierced my nose. But I literally, like, it's not even, that shouldn't even be something that is, like, a big deal. But obviously, this is, like, 10 years ago. Do you know what I mean? So I'm like, okay, is it corporate? Is it not? On an Asian person, it's very acceptable. On a black person, they might think it's ghetto. Do you know what I mean? So I was like, I'll wait. I did what I wanted to do. I was like, okay, I've managed my perception enough now that even if this dents it, ain't gonna dent it that much. And that's like how I see all of that, putting your camera on, showing up, doing all that stuff. It's like, once you built yourself enough, if you don't have your camera on, people might think, oh, whatever. But they know your work.
And you can tell when someone's just woken up in it. To be honest, you know what?
I would say with me, you can't.
Like, it's just little stuff I used to do. I don't have to do it, but it's just like, if you know that in the mornings your voice is a bit deep and horsey, which is fine. If you know you've got a 9 a.m. call, quickly go and either brush your teeth, gargle, eat something to make it. You know what I'm saying? No, true, or even just lie like, sorry, I'm just on the go. Like, do something. Like, don't just come, like, and you're a graduate. And then you've got these, like, kids that maybe come from backgrounds where, you know, they've seen their parents in these professional partner lawyer roles. They're on the cameras. Yeah, they're coming into the office. I remember I was mentoring someone, and then we had somebody that had, oh, can you come into the office on a Thursday? Yeah, I can come into the office on a Thursday. Emily, obviously fake name, was in the office at 9 o'clock on that day. Tunde was like, oh, I'll come after. I'll come after because it's early. I'm just thinking, like, you've never worked before. You have no kid. Like, unless obviously you don't know what people are going through mentally, but it's like, where is this aspect of
Tunde, be in the office?
Like, I mean, where's the fire in your belly to come in and learn?
In the earlier stages as well, it's more important, and just for learning. Like, I actually sometimes feel sorry for, like, the grads that are coming out now and they're just working from home, because I know there's no way, unless even if you're the most proactive person, there's no way you're learning as much as people next to their colleagues daily. Listen to their phone conversations that had nothing to do with them, like, asked questions which were nothing to do with them just to want to know. Nothing, you can't do that.
Nothing beats on the job learning. Like, nothing. No uni, no sitting behind a book and a lecturer teaching you. On the job learning is like the best thing. Nothing beats that. So it is important to be.
It's the only way to be exposed. You can't be exposed when you're at home working. You need to be around people and just have those random conversations. You know, I'm going for a coffee. Does anyone? I'm coming with you.
Relationships that I have made at work have made
more money.
Tea.
Tea and coffee.
Getting coffee. Going to the corridor where people cry, you know.
Are you alright?
What's going on? Don't worry about it. Like, it's just really tell.
It's a good one though, because I do think, like you said, it's not just Gen Z, but there is like a big group of people who are very comfortable just like not being present, the camera on and stuff like that.
What we call it is presenteeism, right? So you wouldn't want to go into the office, or you wouldn't want to be hired in like a people management role, and it's against HR standards to like say, oh, you haven't got your cameras on, so I perceive you're not serious. People would never dare to say that. But I would say that what the problem is with maybe Gen Z is that everybody wants to make a creative lifestyle out of their job. It's creatives and artists and singers and rappers that can be anywhere and everywhere, but you can't have that energy in a corporate office. You get what I mean? So it's very like, you can't treat every job like you're a virtual assistant. You can't harness the aura of being a creative. Like, I can work anywhere. Like, I'm actually this. Like, you can't do that. Like, even me in my position as a black woman, I've got some people I work with that, sorry guys, I'm just setting up my camera. I'm actually in the south of France. It's really good here. I, as a black woman, I would never do that. I will fix screen. Even do you get what I mean? But it's like, there's just no. But they're really using their benefits now. Do you understand?
That's mad, because like, imagine like you're just anybody else and you have a virtual, like your virtual screen is the beach, but like you're on the beach, Your virtual
You're
speaker.
I just feel like if your company allows you to work remotely, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
But know that you're confident and people know that you can do your job before you check back.
Yeah.
You understand? Don't just be coming.
Yeah, it's true.
You don't really do work, and then you're just showing in Dubai. It's just a bit like.
It's true.
You know why though? When something like when shit hits the fan and redundancies need to start happening, or
They'll remember that you
some
on the
sort of
beach.
restructure,
They will.
that's what happens though.
It's true.
They're
They'll remember
gonna
that
start
you were on the
thinking those
beach.
things, and everyone thinks like obviously, hopefully, your job is always secure and things like that. But if a company does have to go through that process, those are the sort of things that they'll subconsciously start
Look at.
thinking about.
Yeah.
It's true.
I watched this. I don't even follow Steve Bartlett, but I see his snippets.
Yeah,
And I think I saw
I
a
like
snippet of I mean, the things that I've seen have been cool, but I think I saw a snippet and he was talking about the things that you don't like, how the things that you don't know can contribute to your success in the office. And he was like in workplace. He was like he had a startup, and when it came time for promotion, he was started thinking about this woman who I don't know, someone in the office had been like ill or something, and or I don't know, needed something. There was no first aid kit. She had to run out and get plasters, and she didn't think it was above her. She ran out to shop. She got plasters to help her colleague or whatever. And he was like, oh, he remembered that and made her a team player. And when it came time for promotion, he just had front and center of his mind that she's a team player.
Yeah.
I don't know if like the plaster thing is that deep, but like I think it's that sort of thing. Like you might just think, oh, going to plaster to get. Am I your mum? Like, but
it helps, but the issue is that when you are a woman and you are a minority, people either infantilize you or they look at you like the mammy role. So what happens is that you're doing your job, but then you end up taking on more ad hoc duties than doing your actual job. So there has to be a balance of being a team player, but at the same time, you have to master one. And I've seen a lot of times when I've worked with maybe other Asian or black women, and they're in like technical or like legal management, but then they never get the promotions, but then they get the jobs of like organising Christmas party or like being the person to bring teas, because people just mammify them, innit?
Yeah.
So I've always felt like them little cute things are just for white girls. It can't be. It's not. Already like black women are seen especially as like.
That's so sad.
Do you know what I mean? You can't really.
Yeah. Do you know what? My first HR role.
I don't know why I'm laughing already. I don't know.
I was HR admin, but they also had me doing like Christmas party, the summer fun day, all the like. It was called Building a Better, like the name of the company. It was called BBN, and
Make America Great Again. That's
basically, and it was to do something like once every Friday, and I would have to order all the snacks in. And like everyone would come down to like the community like bit where people would have lunch, and I'm like, yeah, thanks, great snacks. I'm thinking, hello, like
I'm HR.
Like what is this? But it's true what you're saying, because and it took a while. I think it took maybe like 18 months before they actually hired somebody into a comms role, who was my friend, who I brought along.
Well,
And took over like doing communications and all that extra stuff. But before, it was me doing that in HR.
And they
It
would
does
do
fall
it.
on
And,
HR a lot though. In general,
I
Yeah.
really hate that.
Sometimes.
Like when it's like you're in HR and then it's like time to organize a Christmas party. Why are you
why
looking
should
at
it be
me?
HR?
Yeah.
You need an office manager.
Yeah, even office manager, it better be in your JD, because like, why are you coming to HR? Oh, it's a people thing. No, it's not. It's a party thing, and you guys party more than I do.
Although when the EA did start organising the Christmas party, I would go along for food tasting.
No, I remember the last Christmas
to your
party that
benefit?
we had where I was working before I started my business. When it came time to organise it, I was like, no. It was summer party actually. I was like, I don't want to do it. I was like, we need a representative from the people team. I sent my advisor.
It's not fair.
I'm like, this is ridiculous. Like, it's not what I want to be known for. Oh yeah, and then at the party they'll be like, well done to everybody who. Oh yeah, and that's not my thing. I don't want to be associated with that, because people will take you. They will take you less seriously.
and
It's true.
It's like treating you like an admin bitch.
Oh, can you put this in my diary, please?
Oh yeah,
Excuse me?
Can you just say? Can you just say? So will you send? No, I will not send it.
Yeah.
It's a bit. That's not what we do.
Oh, the game.
The game is like the game. But I really appreciate because I've said on like since I started following you, the first time I saw you was actually on this property thing where you were talking about like buying your flat and stuff like that, and then that's how I first found you, and then I found like you were like an engineer and like just sharing stuff like that. And that's kind of why we created this podcast to like share information and like share advice and stuff like that. And one of the things that, you know, it's like the buzz thing now is like getting into tech. Everyone wants to get into tech. It's like the way,
especially women in tech.
it's like everybody just wants to
women in tech.
who are not even in tech, but it's a separate situation. But that's what everybody wants to do now.
Yeah.
So you as like an engineer, what did you study at university?
Artificial intelligence and robotics.
Yeah. So
sorry, did you know like before you got to uni that you wanted to be in tech? Because I feel like that's very forward thinking.
Yeah, thank you.
Back then, actually.
I was so in the beginning when I was younger, I wanted to be an astronaut, and I wanted to be an actress, and then I wanted to
range. Wow.
Range. But I wanted to be an actress because everyone was just like, oh, you're naturally funny. I would like impersonate people really good. My mum is into art and like music, so she pushed me towards that. But then my dad was like, no, you're actually smart, so he pushed me towards the maths and that. So I ended up being really good at it. In year 3, I learned like algebra, was moved up in maths to like year 6.
Wow.
Then I went to
He's a smart guy.
then I went to secondary school and I got really good SATs. And in year 9, I got the highest SATs in the borough, 999.
Wow.
Then
We weren't in the same year. I didn't get that.
999. And then you know what happens, you get to year 10, you think you're a little bad girl, and then teachers are disappointed, and then got to college and I kind of like whipped myself back into shape again. So when I got the opportunity to study AI, I got like a scholarship because it was a new course, but also because I used to watch quite a lot of like industrial and technological documentaries with my dad on like National Geographic. So I've always been quite up to date. So I've always been quite like technically up to date with like forward thinking technology. So I've always wanted to like study AI because of that.
And so for people who like, a lot of engineers that they studied most of the ones I know that study computer science or IT or something like that. What are the options for kind of people who want to be engineers and not like who don't have that degree? I know there's like boot camps and stuff. But, like, and there's a lot of people who say they're self-taught, but how would someone go about it?
I think any industry that you get into, if you're going in it for the money, you're never going to succeed. Like, you have to have a passion. That's what I would say. And working in tech, I noticed that every day feels like I'm at school. Every day feels like I'm studying. And plus with like the pressures of being a black woman in a white male dominated environment, there's also a pressure that I'm always studying and I always have to get A's. So it's not necessarily a case of you have to study tech when you go to uni, but you have to have a passion. And it helps if you do have a degree in tech because it also shows employers that aspects of discipline. But with the boom of the internet, with the boom of the versatile different levels of or types of learning you can do, you don't necessarily need a degree, but you can't be lazy. You have to come to the interview saying, hey, I have no degree in tech, but here is my freelance projects that I haven't done paid. Here is my GitHub profile. Here is my LinkedIn where I'm always posted like, and I don't think a lot of people have that level of botheredness to just do that. So having a degree shows your discipline and just gives you that step ahead. Or you can join a boot camp, but boot camps are highly competitive, and especially if you're looking to enter the tech game with no degree, minimal experience, and then you're also competing with these people that are 16 doing apprenticeships, there is ageism to certain aspects. So what I would say is that if you've got a degree in tech, I think that's great. It gives you kind of like that leverage where you can just kind of go straight into a graduate role, which pays a bit more. But if you don't have a degree now and you do an apprenticeship or boot camp, make sure that you do quite a lot of self-study and you do quite a lot of projects. Don't worry about freelancing for no money. I've done so much freelances alongside my actual job when I was younger that I wasn't getting paid for. If I heard there was a new language on the market, I'm not caring about the money. Just let me shadow you as a junior and make my own projects. So when I go for my next role, oh, have you used Python SDK? Yes, I have used it. Technically, I have used it so I can show them. But I think a lot of young people now are very focused on the money, and that's not a bad thing, but you have to show me why I should pay you. Do you know what I mean?
I think it's the same with anything. Like when you go into something, your first role, you just need to be in it to learn.
Yeah.
Get as much
Get your foot in the
knowledge.
door.
I think there's a lot of pressure on young people, but it's almost imaginary pressure that they've put there themselves of, you know, oh, I have to buy a house by 25. I should be on 50K by the time I'm 22. But my first job, I like in HR, I wasn't even on an annual salary. I was per hour.
Wow, yeah.
I was it was like £9.50 per hour. Like I wasn't, do you know what I mean? So I feel like, a lot of young people don't want to kind of put the hard, I feel like we're battering young people today, but they don't always want to put the hard work in front of
I think
the money
now as well. It's like sometimes it's not even the hard work, is I just want that
it's
money
the short-term
now.
gratification
I feel sorry
mentality
for a lot of young people now, actually, because I feel like the internet is full of nonsense, especially like if you I like Twitter, like I'm on, like we all use Twitter, but like I feel like even if you just go there, the kind of nonsense,
it's ridiculous.
Like if you really believe everything that you read on Twitter,
but
you'll
people
think
do.
Yeah, but you'll they think that they're not earning enough money, but they're earning the normal money.
They're
doing enough, but they feel like they're not, because Twitter came and told them that if you don't earn 50, most people in this UK will never see 50k salary in their lifetime.
It's true. People don't want to hear that.
They don't
know. I mean, it's not to say that you can't do it.
It's
not to say that you can't do it. And I think if you want to earn money, you can earn money.
Yeah,
of course. But if you're at a certain stage, like if you're in your early 20s and you're not there, if you're there, I applaud you. It's great for you, and I'm happy for you. Yeah. But if you're not there, like you shouldn't be so hard on yourself. But they don't know that, 'cause they don't have the again,
the foresight isn't there. It's just now. It's just right now.
But then, like, leading us onto like a certain topic, when people are honest about their salary, people don't want to hear it.
It depends what the salary is. Because
if it's like, it's true. If it's like 25k,
everyone will be like, oh, well done,
that's what it is.
Yeah.
100k.
I feel like even in regards to like young people have an expectation of like what to earn, I also feel like that pressure is there because we've got such an overconsumption of social media, because we don't have community. People are lonely. So when you allow certain things to enter like your eye gate or your spirit, you start to internalize it. But if the social media was if we didn't have COVID and we had a social media shutdown, a lot of people will be will be happy, because you realize that you're an individual going through life and everybody's life trajectory is different. But when you're young and impressionable, we don't have community centres. We don't have maybe leaders in our community that are outside of the realms of rap, OnlyFans, and music that are owning these big figures. People, hence why I said people are going into the corporate space with that freelancing, creative mindset, and it's
it's true.
No, you gotta like work. Like it's not a by the beach pool graduate job. Like you can't work. Or like walking my dog day in the life of a graduate person, like walking my dog in the like it's
what I spent working on the beach in Dubai.
It's just
it's terrible.
It's what it is. Yeah,
it's terrible. It's like did you see when it was during the peak of COVID, there was a paramedic who was saying like, you know, what she's going through during lockdown and stuff, and everyone's like, oh, thank you for your services, blah blah. And then in another video, she gets into her Audi car. And everyone switched on her.
I remember.
Like,
everyone switched on her on social media. They were like,
how can you drive an Audi? What kind of money? It's like, in this country, I really think that this is why when you said public sector, I said it could never be me, because people they want people that work in the public sector to be slaves. And like when it comes to charities and the public sector, what I don't like is that, you know, there's not money, so they expect you to do it for the good of the people. And I don't like that. Like, pay people, especially if they're doing something that is like, you know, valid. But it's like they know, like, when you work for a charity, your salary will be 10, 15k less, and they'll tell you, but you know, the good cause. I'm for the good cause.
But I don't want to become
the good cause.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I agree.
So I also think that people are like quite like secretive as well, like because there's a lot of shame attached to salaries, and a lot of like, I don't know, people fear the evil eye. There's loads of reasons why people don't share, but we're not really good at, like, well, not all of us, but we're not good at sharing. Like,
when you say us, you mean
just people in general, like.
UK is very
it's like, and talking about money is still quite taboo. And like, do you know what, remember when I was in the metro, and then it was like, oh, this is like, they put that clickbaity headline out saying that this person spent this much on a.
Oh yeah, I remember you. Yeah.
Yeah, so save this much or whatever. Everyone was doing up a think piece on or why it's not a good financial decision or why it is, or some people like really great. Of all the people, you know, I got one DM asking how much money I made when I bought the flat. No one asked me. Nobody bothered to ask. Everyone was speculating. I only had, and it was a white girl.
You see?
Not one person, the only person who asked me how much money I earned was earning when I bought my flat, to get the context.
Yeah.
Which is
one
what's
person.
needed.
But people don't want that.
I know it was
want
trending
the
all over
context.
Black Twitter, but it was only one person, and she was white. She did.
Yeah,
Do you mind how if I asked this question? Do you know how mad that is? Because so we're having this conversation about someone buying something, and everyone's talking about it, but no one is even interested in getting the context, or no one is confident enough to ask the question. I told the person because it wasn't a secret.
Yeah.
People are there for bad vibes.
Yeah, that's what
I feel like it's also because when you see somebody in your community achieve something that's the top 1%, not necessarily in regards to salary, but it's outside, like I said, the realms of rap or music, you've now become a reflection of their inadequacies, because it's very easy to look at somebody and go like, oh yeah, she's got a beautiful body, she made a meal last night on OnlyFans, okay, cool, because she's buff. Or oh, this person's is a rapper and they went viral and they're a millionaire, okay, because people glamorize things that edify sexual music or escapism. But when you're somebody that you've made a good salary outside of the roles of that, you now are a reflection of their inadequacies, because they're thinking, you look like me, you sound like me, you talk like me, how did you do it and why not me?
No, I think that's so valid,
and you show that like it can be done, and it's almost embarrassing, isn't it? Because I've come from a working class background. I wasn't born into money. I don't know your background. So when you live in a community where people have allowed themselves to be enthralled in emotionalism of constantly blaming the system and not taking accountability, when you see somebody from said system and they've done well, you feel like a dickhead, isn't it? Huh?
The system does exist though.
No, the system does exist, but then it's like, does the system exist, or are you taking accountability as well?
No, it's both.
Do you know what I mean?
It's
And
both.
people lean on towards one side.
Yeah. No, I completely get that. I'm like, I always say, when I have kids, I want to raise my kids to understand the system, but also know that it is possible to
achieve.
Of course,
to achieve. Just to know these are the constraints you're working in, but it's possible. Like that mentality. That that I don't say chip on shoulder, and the chip is real. Like it's there. We're all carrying it, right? But like I always found, actually, when you go into workplaces in corporate, a lot of the people who do really, really, really well, a lot of the Black people, I mean, they were literally not born in this country.
And I agree.
I think part of that is because they didn't grow up being a minority. They just grew up. They grew up actually in privilege from where a lot of the time they grew up. They either grew up in privilege from where they're from, or they at least didn't grow up being a minority. No one told them you can't do because you're Black. If they couldn't do it, it's because they. Someone's like, you can't do because you're not smart, or do you know what I mean? But things that they could overcome. So when they come here, they don't have that mentality of I can't do it. They even have like that, why can't I do it?
But do you know what as well? It's because they're more grateful, because they understand the power of the pound. They understand the power of, wow, I'm actually in the UK or US. But I think when you're here, you're slightly spoiled. Because if we are talking about this aspect of the system holding Black people back, why can somebody that got a scholarship from a village in Ghana come here and go to Oxford, but you that was born here, you can't?
It's true.
I'm not being funny, but like it's entitlement as well, because
I think there's some entitlement, but it's also some like, I think it's a lot of the time people have either beaten themselves down or they've been beaten down. They don't even think that they can do it. They're not told that that's their aspiration. Whereas if you're coming from another country, like if I'm moving here from another country, I'm thinking, listen, if I'm using all my money to go to this place, I will be a success.
And you want a must of everything. You're just like, if it's Oxford, it's Oxford. If it's whatever job you're at, if it's the best bank, that's where you want to go. But if you are here already, you go in school and a teacher will be like, you're not going to uni. Like, do you know what I mean? It's already sort of started.
It starts from young. It does.
Yeah,
it starts from young.
Only 3 people this year went to Oxford. Okay, there's like 180 of us in this year.
So what happened to the rest? Yeah.
So it is kind of told you that. But when you're in, I don't know, other countries, for example, as you're growing up, your dad's telling you, you're going to Oxford.
Yeah.
You're going to here. So
it's different.
It's just there's so many layers to it. I just want like I just want people to wake up and understand like the power that they have. It was really sad. Like I had a really rubbish start to the day. Nothing to do with really me, but so I have where I used to work. There was I hired a Kickstarter, and as a HR administrator, since I've left my last place, there's a new head of people who's come in, and she's basically like decided to switch up the team. She's doing a restructure. She I won't speak too much on her, but she had made him redundant. I'm sure you won't mind me saying because it's public. So he basically lost his job, and he his confidence has been just knocked for six. Like it's really bad. So like I've put him forward for a role. He didn't get the role, but he was top 2. Like he did really, really, really good. Put him forward for another role. I was going and prepping with him yesterday, and he was just like, I don't think I can do this. And like he was literally like, I can't do this. And I was just like, you can do this, and this is somebody who has done the role. Do you know what I mean?
Just confident.
Your confidence gets knocked.
And he just said, I'm not doing it. So he pulled out of the interview. I had to spend an hour talking to him today to get him to get back in, and we've rescheduled it for Friday now. But not everybody is. As a recruiter, I don't even have time to do that, but I can do it because I know you.
Yeah.
You get what I mean? But not everybody has that, and that is the impact of one person like making a decision that you're not good enough, you don't fit into this thing, and see the impact that it can have on people. And imagine that for your life.
That's why a lot of the younger generation are going down the self-employed route, and that creativity that you're talking about to avoid that.
Burnout.
Yeah, but I think there's not people are not real about it. Like sometimes people, I don't want to work for, like you get loads of people opting out of employment. So you said employment actually. Yeah. Why was that actually? Out self-employment versus employed. You said employed.
Because I started my career being self-employed, and the reason why is because I felt that as a young black woman from tech, there were so many vertices of isms that I faced. So it's very hard to know that have I sometimes had a difficult work environment because I'm black, because I'm a woman? Am I suffering from racism, sexism, classism, ageism, what it is? But what I notice is that whatever ism that I'm facing, I've always been more digestible, dare I say it, to white people when I'm not a part of the fixed furniture. When I'm kind of like, I can come in the world and I'm doing the job as a contractor, but they don't have to digest me, inviting me out to work, drinks, or blah, blah, blah. So that's why self-employment is good for me. But in regards to why I chose employment, it's more so a reflection of career progression. I found it easier for somebody working in tech to contract via self-employed, because I got a faster, I got dipped into the deep end quite quickly. I got to choose what kind of like environments I want to work in. You network a bit more quicker. But if you're not in tech, working employed for a certain level, it does provide stability. And I think every other job apart from tech, you escalate based on your ability to network. I chose employed also because of my mum now, so it's just a bit more better in regards to like, I wouldn't say stability because my day rate can hold me more probably than a perm, but it's just where I want to go in my career and build myself. You get to a point where with the contracting issue is that you don't want to be a jack of all trades. And what I've noticed is that unless you want to stay as an IC, which is an individual contributor, then stay contracting. But if you want to go into management, strategic directorship, or partnership even, cool, we can give you the contract, you can do the job, but what's your longevity like? And that's what separates, dare I say it, the nerds from what we call the tech unicorns. Because nerds will come in and they will do the job and they'll do it great. Tech unicorns have the ability to have personality, explain technical issues in layman terms, and do the job. So that's what I've always been seen as, more of a unicorn, because I don't fit the stereotypical nerdy kind of mindset.
Really interesting. So in terms of like people, like, there's a lot of like employment shaming as well. Yeah. A lot of people are like, and working a 9 to 5, X, Y, and Z. And it just annoys me because like the CEO of Barclays is employed.
9 to 5.
And no one ever says he's a sellout, because do you know what I mean? But I think a lot of people sometimes they're not being honest with themselves. Like the reason they're saying they don't want to work is not because it's a chumps game, is because they've had poor experiences and now they're like self-selecting out and saying, I don't want to work because
fear, isn't it?
I think it's also people lack discipline. Working a 9 to 5 requires you to be disciplined. Working 9 to 5 requires you to put your pride over your mouth. And do you get what I mean? Not many people want to do that because they feel entitled. Also, there's an aspect of we're taking on a lot of American culture. American black people, I've got a family in America. The reason why they're so against 9 to 5 is because America was built off the back of black slaves. So working 9 to 5 in a structure that was built of black people, it's kind of like you're constantly giving back to the white man. So I understand why you wouldn't want to work 9 to 5.
Kind of doing that here.
We're kind of doing that here.
More far removed.
Yeah, we're kind of doing that here. But I feel like when people bash people that work 9 to 5, it's not because these people are entrepreneurship minded. It's coming with an aspect of pretentiousness and delusion that if they don't work 9 to 5, they're going to be a millionaire next year or 100k next year. But they don't understand that even for the great people that are self-employed, we learn how to be a good we learn how to be good in serving others because we have served others in employment. We've learned that discipline. There's so much things that I've learned from being an employee that I can use for my side hustles or for my contracting business because I was humble enough to learn. But if you're going in, oh no, I don't want anyone to do like, I'm awake at 9 a.m. You're not gonna.
But I hear what you're saying, and I agree that you do learn a lot when you're in a 9 to 5, especially if you're someone who eventually wants to work for themselves. But I actually think the opposite about discipline, because if I'm having a rubbish day, I'll still get paid. Like, no,
you still, when you're contracting, you still do as well.
No, as in like,
if you're self-employed,
working for yourself, you have to work. Like, otherwise not contracting, self-employed. You have to work, otherwise you're not making money. You have to go out and find your money. I have to go out and find my money. If I want to, watch Netflix and if I tell my manager, look, I'm having a bad day, like I can't work today, it's fine. Like, I don't have those same pressures that somebody who's self-employed will have. So I do think the discipline is different. I think we have certain we'll have deadlines and targets that we have to meet based on other people, but I do think the discipline aspect is different. And I'll say as well, like, we can plan better because we're in employment. If I want to have another baby, I can do that without really thinking, okay, I can still save, but I mean, I don't have to, because I'm going to get maternity pay. I've got stocks, I've got all these things. But if I'm self-employed, I have to really do an architect's plan about my
reality though. So when you're talking about you need to be disciplined, a lot of the people who are doing the employment shaming, they're not even
they're not disciplined.
This is what it's different. Like, if maybe you're talking about somebody like yourself where you're running your own business and you have to do your whole 360 model of gauging clients, nurturing clients, that's different. But it's more so, a lot of people, when I say discipline, it's not necessarily discipline in adherence to waking up early. It's just discipline of self. How do you talk to people? How do you conduct yourself? Do you know, stuff like that. They just don't have it, and that's why.
But those people are not self-employed.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, that's why in our community we have such bad customer service.
Do you know what a good example is?
They can get me started on that.
These Instagram businesses.
That's what she just said.
But that's why we have such bad customer service, because you're looking down on people that do 9 to 5 from pretentious and delusional aspects. But you're not disciplined. Like, you don't know how to talk to people. You don't reply to invoices on time. You're
posting to your story saying, if I don't come with my hair braided, I should F off.
If I start atting people now, they'll say I'm mad.
No, but I think, and a lot of people that talk about it being a chump scare, they haven't made it in the self-employment
game.
They're just talking.
They haven't. Yeah, they haven't done it. So a lot of them are employed. They're like, I can't wait. Working for someone is the ghetto. And I work for myself now, and it is a little bit of the ghetto. Like, it's hard, and like, hopefully in the future it'll get easier. You have to be the chief cook, bottle washer, everything. Then you have to do your marketing, you have to do your business development, you have to do your accounting,
it's
you
a
have
lot.
to do your sales.
You
have to do all of those things. So I definitely think that it does require more discipline than being in employment. But the people who are usually the ones talking about it, they haven't got a clue, because they haven't been successful either.
There's a difference between being an entrepreneur and setting up a limited company and company house. That's not an entrepreneur. You've set up a company. But I think when people are coming into the scene with this delusional, pretentious attitude, it's like, I all believe in the power of law of attraction and manifestation, and act how you are, but you're not there yet. And I noticed that maybe people that I've worked with that have a more humble attitude, they get there faster than those that went on it to shit on others because they have the money. And that's what I mean about discipline. Discipline isn't just, I can wake up in the mornings. It's about discipline to learn. How do you treat people? Are you going out? Are you generating sales? Like, it's a whole, are you constantly learning? I just don't think a lot of people have it. That's why I don't really like the rhetoric of I don't like 9 to 5s, because you're just encouraging a generation to just
To
be
not-
lazy.
It's
Yeah,
harmful. It's actually
yeah.
harmful
It's
because
harmful.
people, and again, not bashing young people, but that's why I say I feel sorry for them. Like we had the grace to grow up, kind of like I got Facebook when I was in like sixth form, right?
Oh, really? Wow, that's
Facebook
late.
from
that is late. I had it in
I thought,
secondary
like,
school.
yeah,
Yeah,
maybe that's
I
my
had it in
problem.
secondary.
I'm older. I'm 2 years older than you guys.
No, don't do
No,
that.
don't. Yeah, exactly.
So I got it when I
So
was like 16. You guys would have been like 14.
You're 1 year older than me. First of all, I had it in secondary school.
I definitely had it in secondary school.
Really?
Yeah, because all my school pics are on Facebook.
Yeah,
if I want to go
same.
back down memory lane, I
You go on Facebook.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm late in it. I'm late from so many years ago. We don't want to try. but like we had the grace, like, and even then, what's Facebook, Bebo, like all of that stuff that we were doing,
Bebo.
high five, like
Send love.
It's not, yeah, but it wasn't toxic like that, and you were just connected with your friends. Like,
Yeah.
the only that you were really engaging with were your friends,
It's
people that
true,
were
not
on your level.
strangers.
Just that
Yeah,
big,
it's your circle,
Yeah.
your network, you know.
Yeah.
Whereas now the exposure,
Too much
that's
exposure.
going is so much that like you could have just been content. You and your
Yeah.
friends are all on the same level. You're buying the same things,
It's
wearing the same
true.
clothes. Now social media has a really great impact on being able to open your eyes to things that you haven't seen. But then it can also be like really
Negativity.
detrimental. So then you start to absorb all this. 9 to 5. You decide you want to be an entrepreneur. It's not a bad thing, but you need to have the reality of what that looks like. You decide that you need to earn a certain amount of money, and because you have that mentality, you become very discontented, even with good things, because you haven't
Yeah.
waited.
But people don't want that help. Like you wanted to help people, and the reaction,
backlash.
the backlash was
Yeah.
crazy. Like
Yeah.
you know, because Lola was saying earlier, like she followed you on all socials and stuff. I didn't know you from nowhere until
Oh, wow.
until that day.
I'm shy.
Still a faithful day.
Yeah, until if you know, you know. But like until that day, but I saw like the responses, and I didn't see a positive response, but what you were doing was very positive.
Yeah.
So it was interesting just to
I
see.
still share like some of the stuff that you've put. I share when people tell me they want to work in tech or whatever. Like I will, like I've bookmarked so many things. So I'll share stuff like and stuff that you've written or this person written that video, this video. Like I'll share it with everybody. So like the more content that's out there, like the better. But people are just not used to receiving
They don't
it,
deserve
and they
it.
can't accept. Sometimes people can't accept. Some people are good vibes, but sometimes people can't accept the spirit in which something was done because it has that lens of like the reflection of like their inadequacies, because we're not taught about being in our own
Lane or
our own
whatever.
lane. Like even now, like, and I realized like when I bought my flat, I put some video and I think I put my age in it. I don't even know if it's still there. I feel like I hopefully have taken it out, but like I feel like I realized after I was contributing to that sort of thing, because when you're ready to buy. Now we see all these like 22. I'm 22.
I know.
Grace, thanks to God, like I bought my first home, and now I'm happy.
Yeah, you
for
started
them.
that trend.
Pardon?
I would say you contributed to that trend. Not in a bad way, but
that's what I'm
ever
saying.
since you, I don't think before you done that, I don't see people being like, oh, I got to keep it.
Exactly. And the thing is, even that came from a pure place, because I was like, when I was looking on YouTube,
Yeah.
I
That
live on
excitement
YouTube.
as well, though.
Not even that, like when everybody I was coming across on YouTube who had like they were much older, and then when they were younger,
So
it
you were
was all
proud.
like, yeah,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
also so that people could
Excitement
find and understand, like, okay, this is someone who, again, similar background,
looks like you, yeah.
and but everybody else was like, oh, my parents gave me this much money, but even then I got dragged because I lived at home.
Yeah, I saw
So
that.
you want me to?
You know what's so funny? I remember. It's so dumb.
Are you okay? Because I have family circumstances that mean that I could live at home.
But
unless it's like you grew up in a foster care care.
They want to
They
really
won't feel
bad
so-
story.
yeah,
They want to
yeah.
be
The
that. And then
underdog.
even then, it's like what I found out from like going viral of my salary is that. So when you went viral, I don't know if I think I messaged you like, oh yeah, that's cool, because shortly after,
I think that's how. Yeah.
'Cause I was like, oh, that's it, because I'm thinking, fair enough, you're saying that you don't want to like contribute to the age factor, but why the fuck not?
inspiring.
No,
No,
but it's
do you understand
inspiring.
that you're a
Yeah.
black girl
But
from
not
ends?
not to make people feel bad. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah, but then even I noticed with my salary transparency, it's like you have to come from like nothing.
Nothing.
This is
want
not
a
a
sad
rap story.
story.
I'm not a
Yeah, that's
rapper.
true.
I'm not gonna be like, oh, my mom never fed me. I'm sorry, that's not my reality.
Yeah.
I did move out of home, But in my head, it's like, that's not my story. And it's like, people then start to throw hypothetical situations. I remember saying, oh, how did you learn how to code? Oh, I went to uni. Oh, but the fact that you even had the privilege,
it's a privilege.
as a black cis hetero woman to go to uni, what about the people in Africa? Are you somebody in Africa?
Yeah.
Why are you thinking
let them
like,
message me?
It's weird. But this is it. And it's like, it's really sad when you have black people that come from these working class environments that are like, basically negging you and at the same time wanting you to like,
it's weird,
comparing you to hypothetical situations that they're not in. And I think that's what separates people maybe like yourself, or like, I've gone to so many conferences because I used to do sales, and you've got white men from privileged backgrounds being like, if you want to make it, just make it. Do you know what I mean? But in my head, as a black person, you're thinking like, oh, it's good for you, so mommy gave you 300k,
24
but
hours. Basically.
It doesn't negate from the jewels that they have. You chew the meat and you spit out the bones. I've got what I wanted from the conference. I'm not gonna neg somebody because of everybody in this world has certain things that you didn't have. So Molly May is a cis white blonde Aryan woman with blue eyes and blonde hair. She is from the Caucasus Mountains, right? So in the world we live in, and she's attractive, she has privilege. But when I listened to her interview, there's still some gems that I took. I didn't need to dox her.
I didn't think it was that bad.
Do you know what I mean? So it's like, when you've got, I think the only reason why a lot of black women were angry with Molly May is because now that we live in a time where we're enforcing this soft girl black luxury, a lot of black women are modelling off that from being white. So when you see a white person in privilege say, this 24 hours in a day, you think, wait a minute.
It's so a reflection of inadequacy. It's like, why are you trying to say that we're the same? Because if we were the same, I would be like you.
I would be there.
But it's like, because in their head, they think that they're like Molly May. Because
I hear it.
The internet has given people a false sense of proximity that in real life, you'll never rub shoulders with these people.
But you know what?
I hear it, but people moan too much, man. Like, come on, how many
would
times did you see that on Tumblr that, if Beyonce can see Jay-Z, then
Tumblr.
No.
Tumblr. Is Tumblr still about?
But back in the day, people would be like, oh, if Jay-Z can make time to see Beyonce, then your man can make time to see. That's Molly May was reading one of those memes. She literally probably scrolled and was like, you know, we have the same 24 hours. She's 20
as well.
She's 22 or 20, something like that.
There's so many different types of privilege. Like you have to do what works for you. Like, what did I say? Like, was it like a few months ago or maybe even last year? Molly May dissolved her lip fillers.
Yeah,
she don't need them no more. She's clear. She's gone. True. Before she needed them because that was the aesthetic that she was pushing and it was going to help her. But now she's gotten to a place where she's like, I don't need to do these lip fillers. She knows her. She knows her
market.
Her market.
I'm a Molly May fan.
Huh?
I'm a Molly May fan.
I'm a fan of anybody who takes what they have and makes not just lemons, wine, champagne, like everything. I can understand. Again, what you said, chew the meat, spit the bones. Like, it's exactly that. Like, you can take what you want
just
from everybody.
It's so
important. And then you can understand, but nobody is going to understand, like, when it comes to, like, race and social mobility and all this kind of stuff, I always say, like, even when I was talking about, like, even relationships, some people say that they can never be in an interracial relationship and stuff like that. I'm like, the only type of interracial relationship I could be in would be one where you know that you will never understand my lived experience. And that is so important. And people need to appreciate that. A lot of these white people, even people that want to be allies or whatever, they will never fully understand your lived experience. So stop coming on the internet expecting them to, because they won't.
And it's not their fault. And also, like, even in regards to, like, aspects of dating when it comes to social mobility, I find it, like, strange, but I understand why people talk about the difficulties of dating interracially, but we're going to go towards a generation where the difficulty of interracial relationships won't be an issue. It will be an issue of class. Because I don't bond with people based on their colour, I bond with people based on their class. I can get along with a white girl that comes from a working class background that hasn't assimilated, but we're in the same place. But I would never get along with a Nigerian babe who went to private school in Victoria Island or something like that, because it's just not the same. So there's different aspects of, like, class that is involved with social mobility. So even though for myself I came from a working class background, I'm third generation British. Like, my mum was born here, my grandma came here very young, so second generation, my dad came here very young. So I think there was also certain game that was passed on to me because my mum knew the system and my dad saw it. So even then it's like there's an issue of class as well when you date people.
I get that. I just think, like, I feel like we've gone way off, but I like it. But I feel like we also need to stop beating people up for having privilege. Like, Everybody has
a privilege.
And also,
everybody.
it's not somebody's fault for having privilege.
You don't have to cry.
And never forcing people to acknowledge it, like in everything. Sometimes you need to acknowledge it. It depends, because like if you're putting something out that could be harmful without context, like I get it. But in general, everybody has privilege. Like even me, that like even if you grew up poor. Like if you feel like you grew up poor, I had the privilege of living at home with my mum and having to try not to fight
in London.
Like
that's not poor compared to. Do you get what I mean?
Like, I had the privilege of living in London. We have proximity to jobs. You know, you have the privilege of
being able-bodied,
being heterosexual.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Being buff. Like we all have different privilege.
And then people that are able-bodied, there's different levels. And then you've got people that are maybe not able-bodied, but they're white, has privilege over somebody who's not able-bodied and black. But if you're gonna constantly
it's a struggle Olympics.
Exactly. If you're gonna constantly delve into emotionalism and not take what you need from people, then you're never gonna get far. You're not gonna listen to somebody that has good advice on how to get into HR because they're white but disabled. Like, come on, after a while.
I think it's really funny, especially when it comes to careers. Like that chew the meat, spit the bone. I'm gonna be saying that every episode now because it's so
really
relevant.
like it.
Same.
But it's so funny because most of my audience that like when I make videos on YouTube about careers or HR, whatever, most of my audience is actually black.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But I'd say, but I get a lot of comments from people who aren't. So a lot of like most of my audience is black. They're the ones who are most likely to listen to my stuff. But I have a lot like people who leave comments and stuff. A lot of them are white and stuff like that. I feel like a lot of the time we're opting out of listening to people who have things to tell us because they don't look like us. And whereas white people will literally come and search. Like if I see videos, I'm gonna go for the black one, but I will also make sure I get a range of stuff. Right? But sometimes we're opting out of listening, like not just online, but listening to people or taking things from people because we feel like their experience is different and they're not going to understand. But there's so many, even if it's one thing that you take away from somebody in your career, like most of the stuff that I learned early in my career because of where I was working, I learned from old white men. And they're the most successful.
I learned from Asians.
Oh yeah,
South Asians. I learned more so their work ethic. Like they are seen as people of color, but they're like the crown jewels, you know, the relationship between like South Asia and Britain. But when work starts at 9, they will be in at 7:45, not because they're working, but because they want to be seen. And that's one thing I really respect about South Asians. They are also melanated, but their work ethic and how they've built their communities is impeccable. So a lot of my work ethic does come from South Asians, and a lot of the people that I have seen or I've helped me in my career that I've seen as my destiny helpers have been white people.
But you know, when it comes to like South Asians, I also feel like that's something that it works for them, but sometimes they get abused for it as well. Like
they try to be white sometimes.
A lot of times people forget that you have some privilege, but you don't have it all.
Yeah.
And then also like people see like there's stereotypes that affect us. So you know, black people, we don't have the stereotype of being really hardworking. That's not our stereotype in it. But that is a stereotype that people do with like South Asians. So it's a lot of the time, if you see in the workplace, people will pile on the thing. They'll be helpful. They'll get drowned with work. So I think even then, like everybody is suffering with something else. Whereas we're trying for everyone to think that we're hardworking. They're trying to get away from sometimes they're trying to get away from the whole thing of like, I can do anything, drown me in work. So everybody has their own thing. That's why you have to take what you can from situations, people, and then just learn as much as you can.
I was gonna say, sorry, just to go back. So when you both sort of shared your stories, and you got the backlash that you got, how did that make you feel? Because I'm just trying to think, what's the answer? What's the solution? Is it that people don't talk about their salary transparency anymore? They don't inspire people? Because on the flip side, we've seen so many positives that have come out of people that have been in like similar situations to you or like top exec positions, and it's really inspiring. So what's the answer here? Do we just stop talking about it, or do we continue and sort of just drown out the white noise?
Oh gosh, what I've learned from that scenario is that it's not about not talking about it, but talking about it in spaces or environments that are safe, or what we call like table kitchen conversations.
Right.
So LinkedIn absolutely ate it up. They loved it.
Okay.
LinkedIn loved it. Instagram was a bit more nicer. Twitter was rubbish. So
Twitter is literally a cesspit.
like Twitter was crazy. So in my head, it's like it's not to say that I would never be for salary transparency, because obviously like I have been, but it's about talking about it in safe spaces or around people that are talking about it from a place where even if they're not on what you're on, they are not insecure in the potential to get there.
Right.
So, and also you have to back it up in it. Like, even if I get a job that adds 50k on my salary and looks like, hey guys, 50k on my salary, like, I wouldn't do that, because there's also like an aspect of danger, right? Because the more money you earn, especially with the cost of living, the more crime there is, more people get a bit more hungry. And I know now why a lot of the elders that got their like corporate jobs back in the day move off the ends, because you're not able to enjoy the fruit of your labor without feeling like you're in danger. And I've always said to my family and friends that when I went viral on Twitter for like exposing my salary, if I had been a young black man, I think it wouldn't be the same.
Get robbed.
Yeah.
If I was a young black boy, then you
Become a
think I could
target.
just go to a party on Asbury and be like, obviously man went no. Like, it would never be the case.
Target,
But
yeah.
I think there's an aspect of like being a woman, like, okay, cool, like girl boss, people want to hate if they can, whatever. But I only have that grace because I'm a black woman. If I was a black man, it would be very different. So I can understand why people like move off their ends or just kind of go incognito, because unfortunately, it seems like we're not in a place in a society where maybe we can celebrate others. And I don't know why, because I haven't necessarily seen it for myself, but I know that after I went viral, there was like a chain reaction of other like micro influencers that their old tweets are being dragged up right at the top of their like, not top of their career, but when they were like going places.
Yeah.
So I just feel like if you want to be transparent about your salary, even if you're doing it for a good cause, unless you want that to be your brand, I wouldn't bother. Because even it changes like how you can talk to people, because now people will be hyper scrutinizing or being critical of how you speak and what you joke about, because they just want to jump on you, because maybe they want to get shit off their chest in it.
Yeah.
So even I've been in situations where I've gone to restaurants with friends and they've brought their friends, and maybe the bills come and somebody that maybe has clocked me from Twitter has been like, oh, I'm sure you can pay it though. And it's like, I can, but
I don't want to.
Well, what's your
But I ain't
point?
gonna.
You know, that whole spirit of like, all right, big money girl. Like, it's just,
Yeah.
after a while, it's like, I have anxiety now. Okay, like, certain places, like my friend invited me to go to a party, but it was kind of like in the hood, and I'm just like, why do I have to like take off my Van Cleef? So like, it's too much.
Oh,
like,
not in the
you know what I
hood.
mean? Like, yeah, you can't. I just feel like,
You're like, if anybody else, I'm poor.
and if you do want to be transparent with your salary, I would say also just do it in a safe environment. And if I can go back in time, I wouldn't have done it, because
Okay.
you want to give people the opportunity to fall in love with your heart and not your hand. So
Right.
a lot of the times, like, I don't mind making friends off social media, but I'm always in a parallel state of mind. Like, what's your intention? Like, why are you trying to like be my friend? Or I'm only felt comfortable with like coming with you guys to the podcast because I know that she knows some mutual friends. But when this area kind of booky, so I was just like, you know, like,
We'll go for the Blackwater Tunnel. She's like, where's the studio again?
because I would have like, oh shit, they got me. So it is kind of like
That is so funny.
I think salary transparency is okay to share amongst like close friends, maybe when talking about house purchase or weddings and finances, but I don't think it's something that you should just out. The only reason why I felt comfortable to do that is because before my salary transparency, I've been in the tech community doing free workshops and helping people to get into tech. So, and a lot of my like fan base, dare I say, on Twitter were Americans. So, you know, Americans love that shit.
Yeah.
So they were like, oh
Yeah,
my
they
God, like a
do.
black woman tech. And a lot of them added me, like, you should come to the States. But it was just the London black community that were just like, okay, so, because you're like,
And you know, we've spoken about
Yeah.
salaries and stuff as well. One thing that we've definitely agreed on is that there just is like, you can, because you say you earn like a lot of money, or you do earn a lot of money like relative to the average, doesn't mean that you don't appreciate what ordinary looks like, what average looks like. So I think that's something to like understand, because let's say like you're contracting or you have a job which earns a certain amount of money, that's not to say that you're delusional, like you don't understand that that's not normal.
Yeah.
So you can look at yourself and think, okay, I'm in the X percentage and that's cool, but it's not like I'll look down on people who don't. And I think that's the thing that people sometimes expect, that like once, if you earn a certain amount of money, that you're going to think something about people that don't, and then that can impact the energy that they come with.
I think when you earn a certain type of money, it's not that you start to look down on people, but I do think that sometimes you can develop a bit of a savior complex because you're like, hey, there's a way out. You don't have to do this anymore.
Yeah.
Or sometimes I noticed that I started looking at certain maybe friends or associates like, raw, like, why is this your excuse? Because you're just thinking like, it's just weird. But I do notice that the more money you make and the more you're networking of people of a certain class, your palette starts to change. Do you get what I mean? So my favourite pastime is just going to the museum or riding around in Uber boats. Because I just like to do, like, I'm somebody that I spend more money on experiences and holiday rather than drip.
Yeah.
So even with that, when you go viral for like earning a top 1% salary, and then you've got people that associate such salaries with like rappers and footballers, it's like people expect to see you just be dripping in it. And I'm just like, nah, not really. Like, it's not me. But maybe in my head, it's like, I've never been that, I've been somewhat maybe fashion, but I've never been like drippy. Only like, I got my first designer purchase, that is real, when I went to like Bitches to Village about 4 months ago.
What did you call it?
I wasn't gonna say it. I was gonna let it. I was gonna let it go.
Let's do it now.
I was gonna let it pass.
What is it? Bichester. Bichester. So I'm Bichester.
She said Bichester. I was gonna let it pass.
Bitches in the village.
Lola don't let anything slide, by the way.
Bichester. I was like,
but you're one of us now. Because it's a big mess up.
Bichester. I went to Bichester. Bicester Village.
Yeah.
And I bought my first like Prada boots, and that was like a day rate. But already in my mind, I'm thinking, raw, like, and not that I need to recoup, but I just couldn't understand, like, people just be doing this. But even it's like, it's Prada, but you, unless you're into fashion, you would never know that, like, this is the vibe. Like, so I don't know, but there's a certain pressure that you feel like, if I'm going somewhere, of course, you can wear clothes twice. Because I remember when I went viral, and I was wearing like a pretty little thing dress. One girl was just like, fair enough, she's pretty, but you're on big 100K or 6 figures. And
People are mad.
What's wrong with that though?
People are mad.
What is wrong with
It's
that?
Molly May not wearing PLT.
Those are the people we need to run from. They're just
mad.
like making everyone
They're
on
scary.
social media.
They're
No, but
scary.
She
those
was
are the
young though, in her
people-
defense. She
Yeah,
was very young.
but still,
but it
those
was
are the
big girls
people-
following her. This is what I'm saying, like big 6 figures, they even
But those are the people that are
People are
like
mad.
allowing other people on social media to feel so bad about like
Yeah.
thinking they have to do so much, and it's like no, it doesn't need to be like
People
that.
have stuff to say about everything. When it was mine, it was like, oh, she spent that much money and she don't even have a house. If she moves to Kent, she could have got a 3-bedroom house.
I think I saw
I'm
comments like
single.
that.
Yeah. And what am I doing in Kent with a 3-bed house? Well, we have slumber parties. Like, I don't understand. Like, but
And you
people
want to be
just
close, like you didn't want to move to Kent. Do you know
Yeah.
how far Kent is from,
listen.
from
I should
your
live
livelihood?
So,
Like,
what? I should live in Maidstone.
People are
But
mad.
it's silly because it's like, you could have got a 3-bedroom house, but this is what I'm talking about, educating the community, because regardless of whether I decide to spend 500k on a 4-bed house in Kent, or I decide to spend 500k on a large studio in Chelsea, it's still 500k.
Yeah.
The whole
it.
point of having a house is the equity. If anything, as a single person, it's probably smarter for me to get a 500k studio in Chelsea because the price will go up because it's Chelsea. But people don't think that way. They're just talking and just finding
That's Twitter, though. That's Twitter.
It is Twitter.
You know what?
But
What
the
I-
people in real life, that's what makes it scary.
No, I feel like people are different. Like, some people are the same online, but some people are
They're
different
more reasonable
online.
in
like,
real life.
if you, there's some no names type of people, but there's some people on Twitter, they got big energy. When you see them offline, micro penis energy. Micro penis energy offline, like, and it's just, that's just how people are. People, the internet just gasses people
it's true.
up. Like, yeah, it's just, that's just how it is, and I've just accepted that.
Okay, so earlier today we put on our Instagram story that we are going to be talking about all things maternity and salary, and we asked all of you to send in your dilemmas or questions or comments that you had. So we have one here, and it says, would love to hear about return to work from mat leave. I'm about to go on maternity leave and already thinking about how it will be when I come back. I'm in HR too. Looking to move into tech and away from education due to money, also workload, very contradicting messaging about work-life balance, but expectation to work all hours of the day to meet unrealistic deadlines due to high staff turnover. Any advice would be appreciated. It's a lot to unpack there.
When she says moving into tech, do you think she means into a tech company within HR or into tech?
I mean, if she's, I don't know. It could be either these days. Like,
Yeah.
who knows? Yeah.
I'd assume HR.
Yeah.
So what was the
But
first
of all,
question?
congratulations. So obviously, because you're going on maternity leave, but I don't know. These are the women who have their babies.
What was the
and
first
have been on
question?
So it was, would love to hear about return to work from mat leave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
I mean, I'm not back at work.
You're due.
What was it like when you went back to work?
I found it easy. I went back to work. I think it was 9 or 12 weeks postpartum.
Oh,
Went
wow.
back to do a contract.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
Yeah, because so I keep saying close my mortgage. I moved into my property January 2020. Then I found out that I was pregnant 3.5 months after. So no, 4.5 months after. So a lot of my savings that I would have used if I didn't get a house was used on the house, right?
Yeah.
So then I worked through my pregnancy. Luckily, I only was able to do that because it was COVID, so I was working from home. If not, probably would have lost a lot of money because I had to keep on being put on bed rest. But I went back to work 3 months postpartum because one, it was I had quite a challenge of like separating my identity from being a mum.
Okay.
2, there was a lot of financial anxiety as well. Like, I guess certain traumas that coming from a working class environment and coming from a place where every time you see a woman has a child, it's like a career just finishes, isn't it? Mm-hmm. So I had that trauma that I forgot that it's my qualifications that hold my career, not the fact
Not the baby.
Yeah. But so I didn't really think that. So I was just like, so even then I started my master's at 7 months pregnant. I went back to work 9 to 12 weeks postpartum because I was just like, I don't want them to use my motherhood as another ism against me. And when I got pregnant, I had just stepped into my first big girl role perm, 80k management position. So I was like, I don't want it, because I've never judged my ability to get a job on me getting the job. It's how many times am I able to get it and how long have I worked there. So I made sure I worked through up until like 8 months. Then I went back 3 months postpartum. How was it? I would say the most challenging thing about it was mentally. So you deal with quite a lot of like mum brain. There's times when like I've said, okay, Taylor, go take a shower. And I've gone to the kitchen sink and I'm running the tap like water, running, what's going on? And then I'm like, oh, I need to take a shower. Then I've got in the shower. Then I'm like, there's water running here. But something is in the back. Oh shit, I've got to turn the tap. So it was just like a lot of confusion. So that's one thing I struggled with, like mum brain. That's when I started to like maybe be a victim of not being present. So 9 a.m. we used to have like 9 a.m. stand-ups, and maybe my daughter fell asleep at 5 a.m. and she's breastfeeding. I'm not putting the camera on. But what I was able to smartly do is that I made myself into a brand. I made myself into this 6-figure tech mummy. So companies just ate it up because I guess in that aspect, I just ticked off every ism. Like I was just the perfect token, like black, under 30, 6 figures, mom. They just
Muslim.
So they just ate it up in it. So that, and I guess maybe the level of seniority I was as well helped. In her examples, all I would say is that if her company has a good benefits package, she should do that. I always advise women to save as well based on, I don't want to say their own salary because it's easy to say that when you work in HR, law, tech or finance. I'm pretty sure you girls, if God forbid you were single mom, you would be okay. Not everybody has the opportunity, but in her case, make sure she has good benefits. And I would say if you're fortunate enough to have a supportive partner or you guys can live off your partner's salary, enjoy your time with your kids because it's easy to get back into work, but it's not easy to emotionally catch up to work. And I felt like everybody has work politics, but dealing with work politics when you're 3 months postpartum and you're highly emotional is just long. So sometimes it's like when you're going back into work, if you tell them that you're ready at 6 months postpartum, you're ready at 6 months postpartum, and they still have to pay you. So even if they can like be nice to you and like allow you to find your feet, you don't want to lose a good job or defile your professional integrity because you just jumped into something too soon. So what I would say to her is that maybe, I don't know if this is like legal in the HR sector, before you go back into your role, just take on a little freelance thing to see how your mind does. If it works out, you get double the money you would have in perm. If it doesn't work out, then you got a job to go back to. So that's what I would advise her.
I think first of all, like going back that quickly, I commend you,
No,
because
honestly.
if I think back to where I was
Mentally,
when
or
my
like,
son was that age, no way. I could not. Like, I breastfed as well, and the fact that your baby wakes up every X amount of hours throughout the 24 hours of the day,
it's hard.
and then to work, I commend you.
I was driven by my hyper trauma. I'm hyper independent.
Yeah, like I couldn't. And like, I'm literally sitting in the complete opposite, where my son's going to be 1 this week and I'm not back at work yet.
Oh, wow,
so yeah,
that's nice.
so I very blessed to be able to take a whole year plus, because I went off in May. So I've been off for 13 months from work.
That's amazing. You're lucky,
And I think like you're a mum, so you understand that when you have a baby, first of all, your hormones are all over you think you're functioning normally. You're a crazy woman. Like you honestly, like everyone around you as well is like, oh, do you know what? She just had a baby. Let me allow her. But you think you're functioning normally, but everyone around you is actually giving you grace to just be. And I think it takes quite a long time for your hormones to settle and for you to actually feel like, okay, I'm a mum, but I'm also me. And I feel like taking the whole year that I've taken has really given me a chance to
center yourself.
To be able to say, okay, like I would say the first like 6 months of Kobe's life, like it was like mum, breastfeeding, oh my god, my breast hurt if I'm not near him, blah blah blah. And then now it's like, okay, I'm still a mum, but I'm also a hot girl. Also, do you know what I mean? I'm at my brunches again. I'm at my day parties again. And I feel like now I'm in a mindset of, do you know what? If I do have to work now, I'm okay. I'm good. Like, he's at an age where I feel comfortable enough that if I'm away from him for a bit, I know he's okay. Like, God willing, do you know what I mean? So I feel like, you know, like what you said, Taylor, if you're able to take that time with your child and for yourself, because you're literally recovering from trauma, like physically, and you're going into a whole new mindset mentally. Like, now there's this whole new person that takes precedence over everybody and everything around you. So if you can take the time, do it. If you can save, do it. You know, like you said, the benefits, look at everything. Like, for me, what helps me is I have stocks. So when things were like feeling a bit, and I wanted to keep up with my lifestyle, because that's what it is. It's about how you want to live. Like, I could have been like, do you know what? Let me let my fiance take over everything. And I did a little bit, but I'm not going to say, oh, babe, like I want to go to Rocker and I want to go Hakkasan. That's on me. So, so I was lucky enough to be able to have stocks that I hadn't touched. I was like, do you know what? Let me take some out to just help me a little bit. And that's what helped me stay off for like 13 months. Yeah. So to answer, like, take as much time as you can and as you should, because it's not easy. You're gonna go, the first year is like the first year, it's a whirlwind.
The first year is crazy. I would say, of like being a mum.
Just to touch on her other point, she was saying she was thinking about moving and like thinking about moving jobs. So I've placed people who have finished who are coming off maternity leave and then going into like a new job. But I always think that like that must be crazy. Like trying to go back to work with everything that you've described, like all the emotions, and then having to do, having to credentialize your place yourself in a new place, having to go in and prove yourself. In a new place, after, depending on how long it's been, do you know what I mean? On how ready you are.
I mean, it depends. I mean, unless your like workplace, you got made redundant or it's extremely toxic, then of course move. But I would always say, unless you just get presented with an amazing opportunity that they called you for, not that you looked, I would say rely on the cushion of past probation benefits. At least be there for like another 3 to 4 months. I would even say 6 months. Just get back into yourself, because they will have a bit more grace for you because they're relying on your credentials that you've built before you've had a baby. But going through probation, a new workplace,
But I guess that may depend on how long, because obviously if you're going back like after 3 months versus if you're going back after like 13 months, you could be in a completely different headspace.
I was just going to say, like, as somebody who has been off for 13 months, I don't have the same manager. I know 2 people on my team.
What?
Yeah, my whole team has changed. Like,
gonna feel like a new
being in the tech industry, not tech because I'm not technical, but being in the tech industry and a big one as well, everything changes all the time, like so quickly. So even when I left, I was one of 7, 8. Now I'm one of like 16.
Oh wow!
So like for me, I think it would be easy for me to move because I don't know my manager. She doesn't know me. You know, my director's only been there like a year, so
okay.
I don't think it will make a difference to be honest. But it depends, like you said, if you're going back earlier than that, then it makes a difference. If you, depending on the industry as well, like I said, being in tech, everything changes all the time. And like you can go somewhere and get similar benefits and similar graces because they're all going through their diversity and inclusion. We want to include you kind of thing. So yeah, I think it depends. But for that security and stability, it's true. Go back to where they know you, because if your baby's not feeling well or you have to pick them up early from nursery, they know you already. Like you'll get more grace. They'll be like, it's fine.
And I really feel like people don't have a lot of sympathy for mums. No. Like there's this kind of like outwardly they do, but like there's always this undertone of okay, like you've even seen cases on it where they're like, oh well, she's had a baby now, so she doesn't care. Like she's just about her baby, innit? Or like if your child is sick, they're like, ugh. Like they're literally not thinking that however many months ago you literally pushed this human out your vagina or whatever. Like they're literally just like, oh, your baby's sick. Like, isn't there anybody else?
And you know what? It's mostly women that have an issue with women coming back into the office. I found that men were a bit more sympathetic because they're just scared, because that's a big HR case, isn't it? Like,
that's true.
But with women, it's like, because
I've had a child, you'll be fine.
That's true.
Yeah.
Like with women, it's even the ones that aren't mothers, and I don't know if that's just like dare I say, like a feminine jealousy, because maybe they can't like. So I've noticed that some women, I haven't experienced it, but I've seen that it's like there can only be one head woman. So now you've got the head woman off on maternity, and then you've got like somebody they're just competing, like trying to take each other's places. It's just I don't know. But maternity and going back to work, I only feel like I had the grace to be perceived as superwoman because of COVID, but I don't think I'll be this bright or bold if we had to go into the office. I would not be putting my baby in preschool at 6 months or 3 months. I just wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it.
So it was a bit of an opportunity as well.
Yeah, well, one of my roles was remote because it was based in America, and because of the time difference, I started at 2 and finished at 8. So that was remote. So if I wanted to go back that early, that would be amazing. It was paying like $75 US. I think that converts to like 60-ish, whatever here. So that would have been nice, but didn't do that. I just contracted. Yeah.
Cool.
Superwoman.
Thank you. We have to wrap up now.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
Thank you for being our first guest.
Yeah. And this is really special for us.
Yeah.
You popped
and
our
you,
guest
because
cherry.
you're our first guest.
Yeah.
No, it's been really good.
Yeah,
like,
really good.
I've learned
Really
a lot. Insightful. Like,
Yeah. I enjoyed it.
The bar is high now. Forget.
It's true.
Oh, sure. Thank you.
It's really going to be really high. Everyone will be like, that place is dry. Cool.
Yeah, thank you. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe and share on all platforms. Again, just a quick, on YouTube, we are doing really well. I can see that we're getting more views. So thank you. Appreciate it. Subscribers are going higher too. So yeah, thank you guys.
That's a wrap, guys.
Ooh.